This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
When you think work, you think boots. You think boots, you think Ariat. You think grit, concrete, rain, and heat. And boots that never back down from any of it. You think comfort and durability that hold up on the job, off the clock, and every step in between. Because the day doesn't end when the job does. And from overtime to off-duty, you're thinking Ariat boots. Boots that show up, stand out, and always back you up. Now, it's time to stop thinking and start shopping. Find yours at Ariat.com or a retailer near you.
Welcome to this week's episode of Matchup Maximizer, presented by Keeping Karlsson. I'm Jeremy Versillo, filling in for Elon today, who is going out to watch the Blue Jays game. Exciting times for those of you in Toronto and all of Canada, I guess. But this week, I'll be looking at streaming and schedule matchups for Fantasy Hockey Week 4 of the 2025 season. That's the week running from October 27th through November 2nd, 2025. It is, unfortunately for us fantasy managers, the Frozen Frenzy week. I love Frozen Frenzy as a hockey fan. It's so cool to see every team play on the same day and all of the games all day long, staggered by 15 or 30 minutes. But as a fantasy manager, it sucks. I'm an optimizer. I don't like leaving points on my bench. I believe that quantity is better than quality in many cases, hence my addiction to streaming players. But with Frozen Frenzy week, not only is Tuesday a pretty rough day given that every team plays, that also means that there are very few games on off nights that week because Saturday is obviously also a busy day. To get more specific, Saturday, I believe, 28 teams play, and Thursday, 22 teams play, so maybe you have some space in both of those for your guys. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, those are very late days. It's going to be hard to find streamers that play on one, let alone two of those days. So this is going to be a bit of a tricky streaming week. The most important thing for a week like this is you need to have a fourth defenseman and a second goalie if you can find one who's going to start, 2 or 3 of those games. So if you are one of those people who runs 3 defensemen all year long, grab the best 4-game defenseman who's sitting on your wire as one of your streamers. You're guaranteed to get every game from them, regardless of which days of the week it is. You can rotate out your bottom forward, who's probably on your bench 2 or even 3 of those days. I know I have teams where some of my forwards I cannot play in any of the games this week, so they are gone from my roster. And also, if you run only one goalie, or if your goalie is one of those alternating situations where they may not play Tuesday, you may have some pretty good options for streaming a guy on Tuesday, as there should be plenty of teams playing, although I suspect many of them are going to play their starting goalie. You may have to hunt for which backups are starting on Tuesday. Definitely want to make sure you optimize the use of those roster slots, though. As far as streaming this week, I am going to preach a patience model here. I know a lot of people who are fortunate enough to be winning their matchup or unfortunate enough to be losing their matchup by a lot this week are pre-streaming some of the Monday skaters, adding them early in the later this week so that you get the games early. That's a great thing to do if you can. If you can't, though, don't go dumpster diving on Monday, because adding a guy who plays Monday is just going to be +1 game compared to the guy you're dropping, right? Like, you're going to add a Monday guy. Monday guys also play Thursday, Saturday, so best case scenario, you're getting an extra Monday game, and then you've just got a weaker player potentially for the rest of the week. If you're just adding one game, why not wait until Sunday and add a Sunday guy if you need it. So I may not even be making any moves Monday morning. I may poke around for a goalie on Monday if there's a chance one of the backups starts, but I don't think that's going to happen. I guess Tristan Jarry is going to start based on the rotation if he is in your waiver pool, which he's not in a ton of leagues, but probably should be. Additionally, if you are a team that is either really strong this year, maybe you're 3-0 already, pretty happy with your roster, or if you're a team that's really bad this year and could use some help, there's some opportunity for you in a week like this if you kind of just ignore streaming as a play and just take the week off. And for the better teams, maybe taking the week off involves not dropping some players that you'd like to hold on to. And for the worst teams, it may be keeping an eye on who other teams drop and see if you can grab someone who is roster worthy, who hits the waiver wire by someone like me who really likes to optimize his lineup. Tricky schedule weeks like this often come down to a lot of luck, Oh, my 14 guys on Tuesday and Saturday put up 80 points and yours put up 60. Guess I win by a lot. So maybe you want to slow it down and step back this week. I know that is something that fantasy managers struggle with, including myself. But let me get off of my 5-minute soapbox about strategy this week and actually talk about teams and players. Some teams I'd like to highlight this week. The 2 teams that play Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday are Detroit and the New York Islanders. Not only is that a good schedule for this week since you avoid the busy Saturday and you get 3 games from your streamer, most likely, those are also some teams with some pretty good streaming options if you take a look. Just going through the names, Kyle Palmieri is 76% owned in Cupful. Anders Lee is 63% owned in Cupful. Emil Heineman is 43% owned, and Jonathan Drouin is somehow only 22% owned in Cupful, despite being on the first line and putting together an okay season so far. He hasn't been a world beater, but I think the eye test he's passing. Maybe I'm snoozing there because Drouin's been on my roster all season and I haven't dropped him. There are probably better options, such as Anders Lee, on my waiver wire. I may have to look into rotating him out for next week. Any of those guys are getting top 6 and some power play time. I think Heineman's the worst of those options. Heineman is power play 2, kind of a third wheel on that first line. He's been really good this year, but is way out shooting his talent. I think he has like a 35 or 40% shooting percentage, has had some good puck luck, but it's an option if you have a deeper league. On to the Red Wings. There are less interesting options. I was pleased to see that Emmett Finney appears to be 100% owned. He absolutely needs to be. Seems like a guy who's going to stick on that top line and has been really good so far. But Marco Kasper is only 51% owned, and he's their second line center. And hopefully by Thursday, they'll have Patrick Kane back and be able to spread out some of that talent a bit better. Mason Appleton apparently was on the first line again today. Probably a Patrick Kane replacement for now. I'm not really into adding Mason Appleton. I mean, you can get him in just about every league. I think he's 10% owned. But like I said, Tuesday every team plays, so obviously you're not playing Mason Appleton on Tuesday. If you are playing Mason Appleton on Tuesday, I'm so sorry, and I hope you win a game this year. And, by Thursday, like I said, Patrick Kane may be back, and Appleton's back on the third line. So maybe that's a wait and see and add him on Thursday if it seems like Kane is out for a bit longer. On to defense. One of my favorite stashes this week is actually Alexander Romanov. If you have the room to add a guy, put him to your IR, and then add another guy, Romanov is only 24% owned. He had big peripherals in the games he's played so far this year. I think he played 3 games before he got hurt. I think he's due to basically just take Dobson's even strength time on ice. Like, he is now, they're all situations, big minutes D. He's been a bit of a physical hitting and blocking force in the past. I would not be surprised to see him fringe relevant on just the peripherals, kind of in a way like Colton Parayko has been in previous seasons. Romanov's available in a lot of leagues. You can throw him on your IR, which means you don't have to activate him for Tuesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Sunday, you get some great chance to play him. I I think he's supposed to be back very soon. I know there was talks this week that he may be coming back this week, and he did not get activated for their game today. I suspect he'll probably be back on Tuesday. So yeah, you can either get 4 or 3 games from Romanov. And then in these two teams, if you want some deeper guys, you got Simon Edvinsson, has been a perfectly fine defenseman for the Red Wings as a streamer. Peugeot, Shabanov, JT Compher, all are basically unowned. That's kind of your deep league options if you're in a 16 or 18 team league. Maybe those guys, you just want to get the games Thursday, Friday, Sunday. I'd also like to point out that Anaheim plays Friday, Sunday, which is one of the better off-night schedules this week. Only 2 off-night games. They don't have the Thursday games, so I'd skew towards Detroit and the Islanders. I did not prep any Anaheim guys for you, but usual suspects are kind of always available. I think Granlund was available in a number of leagues, although he got hurt today. Ross Johnston apparently scored again today. I do not recommend streaming him, but he seems to be scoring. So yeah, look at your Anaheim guys too if you just need a Friday, Sunday streamer instead of the extra game on Thursday.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats from breakout rookies to elite quarterbacks and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payouts. Let's take a look at Monday's game. Washington at KC, the big Monday Night Football. How about Rashee Rice? Is he going to have 67.5 receiving yards, more or less? Pretty high. I don't know. Can he do it? How about Marcus Mariota for Washington? How about rushing yards? You can pick more or less 26.5 rushing yards. He can do more than that. That's not even that much. Hey, here's the kickoff bonus. By the way, is anyone keeping track of how I'm doing with these for all these players I've never heard of? Here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
We know what you're thinking. I just want jeans that look great, feel great, and hold up. At Ariat, we've been doing some thinking too. We're thinking about fit that moves with you, no matter where the ride takes you. Durability that stands up to hard work, harder play, and comfort that never quits. And all this thinking, it's really just about more living. Now, it's time to stop thinking and start shopping. Find your Ariat jeans at Ariat.com or a retailer near you.
The next set of teams I'd like to talk about are the teams that play Monday. All of these teams play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So really, you're kind of adding the guy for one game, and then whoever you're dropping likely was playing Thursday, Saturday anyway. So kind of a low-impact add, but there's some interesting players available. These teams are Boston, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. Some guys that are available in, few leagues, but not many, would be Pavel Zacha, who's playing first-line minutes in Boston, Jake Neighbors, and Jimmy Snuggerud. I like Snuggerud the best. He was a highly touted rookie, got some shooting talent, a little bit physical, was playing on Power Play 1. I think he's a Power Play assist today. He's been dropped in a number of leagues, despite being, I think, universally drafted. I'd be willing to pick him back up on hey, let's see if this rookie catches a heater on the week that I stream him and then turns into a guy I keep on my roster. So that's kind of interesting. There's some decent value D here if you have the slots. Like I said, if you add a 4-game defenseman, because you have a slot every game, you'll get all 4 games out of them. And then with these guys, you could even drop them on Sunday to get another game. Guys that I noticed, Chris Letang and Cam Fowler are 75 to 80% owned, so they're available in a few places. That's kind of like your flashes of offense, but not really great defensemen. Nikita Zadorov is 69% owned, or Zadorov, however you pronounce it. He also was tied for the league lead in hits going into today. I did not see how he did today, but that's kind of nice if your league counts hits more than the cupful does. Maybe I'd add him in cupful. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Justin Falk is 55% owned, kind of the yin to Fowler's yang as far as power play options in St. Louis. I kind of decided that those guys are just cannibalizing each other's value, so I don't think either of them are worth owning long-term, but they're fine streamers this week. And another guy who's a bit more available, Artem Zub in Ottawa, is 18% owned. I think he has another assist today. He's actually put up a surprising number of points for a guy who was mostly just a banger in the past. I'd be looking at him probably above all those guys, actually. I think he's kind of my favorite defenseman streamer outside of Romanov for this week. I think I mentioned at the top that I project Tristan Jarry to get the start on Monday. I believe the other 3 starters are going to be Binnington, Ullmark, and Swayman, so you're not likely to be able to stream a goalie, but if Jarry's available, you could add him on that hunch, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to get the Monday start, and Arthur Silovs will get Tuesday. Some forwards available if you just want the 1 game on Monday, or if you have a weird roster where you get more games out of this. Justin Brazeau is shooting like 35%, but is doing things. He's 41% owned. Claude Giroux's 41% owned. Anthony Mantha is playing with Brazeau and Malkin and is 6% owned. And Braden Shen is only 25% owned, and he's the second-line center in St. Louis. That's somewhat interesting. Again, I think I'd rather just wait to use my move on Sunday and add a Sunday guy rather than trying to add one of these guys early and, just hope that it's relevant by the time Sunday comes around. There's also 10 teams to pick from on Sunday as opposed to 4 on Monday. So you'll have a bit better options or a bit more spread out options. You won't be racing people to the wire. Like I said, people who are in a big score differential this week are already adding these guys. So if you're waiting until Sunday night when you listen to this or Monday morning, the odds are you're not going to get your top choice of most of these. Ottawa did announce some weird lines today, and then the coach kind of backtracked it in a press conference, so we'll have to see what their game looks like. They had 0% owned Nick Cousins on the top line, 2% owned Ridley Gregg as the second line center, and 0% owned David Perron on the second line. Again, the coach kind of backtracked that in the press conference with we're just trying to get some guys going. We'll play with them as the game goes on. So those may not even hold through the first period today. Keep an eye on it. I don't really care about those guys except for your deeper leagues. Same with Matthew Joseph is in the top 6 in St. Louis. If you want a peripherals guy, Nathan Walker's kind of interesting. He's one of those, Kiefer Sherwood light type of guys where he'll put 4 or 5 hits a game, but score a bit less than Sherwood does. So I think that covers the Monday guys for those of you who are eager beavers and want to add a Monday player. Some interesting goalie options. Elvis Merzlikins is 22% owned, and based on the rotation that Columbus has been doing so far, he should start both Wednesday and Sunday this week, which is a super interesting ad if you already have 2 goalies. You can speculate, add him for the Wednesday, Sunday back end of the back-to-back starts. and that could get you some extra goalie starts for one move. I think that's pretty good. And then Caden Primo for Toronto should start Wednesday unless Joseph Woll is ready real fast. I think there's also a chance that Stolarz has a bit of an injury and maybe they rest him the extra day or call up Hildeby or something. There was a concerning tweet yesterday about how Anthony Stolarz was icing both of his knees after the game. And if you're a goalie and you're icing both of your knees and already have an injury history, that scares me a lot. Last but not least, here's some other 4-game defenseman options for those of you who have the extra D slot. Zane Parekh is 55% owned and was on Power Play 1 last game. It seems like they're committing to keeping him in the lineup. I mean, the team's so terrible, it's not like having a spotty defenseman in your lineup is going to make them any worse. I'd be a little bit worried that he only plays 3 of those 4 games for load management reasons, but he's probably the only Power Play 1 defenseman available to you right now, so that's a good option. Peripheral stud Brendan Dillon is 35% owned, and that's surely because he had a good schedule this week. But if he's still available, he's a pretty good periffs guy and has 4 points in his last 6 games. Not that I expect that to continue, but New Jersey's been really good on offense this year, so Dillon may chip into that occasionally. And if you stream a periffs defenseman and get 2 points in 4 games, along with some hits and some blocks, I'm pretty happy with that. Cam York is 14% owned and is seeing power play time and 25 minutes a night since returning from injury. I'm not sure I fully trust Philly as an offense or the deployment that Tocchet's been doing there because it's been all over the place, but he did have 3 assists Monday against Seattle, another assist today. Power play 1, lots of minutes, not as many periffs, but if you're looking for points, he could be an option. And I think they have a decent set of opponents this week for scoring goals too. There's also a couple interesting 3-game defensemen. Brady Shea is 33% owned and is now the quarterback of the Nashville Power Play, which sounds really good because you've got Stamkos and Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly on that unit and Marchessault when he's healthy. The problem is their unit's running like 6% this year, so maybe you don't want that. I added him for the back-to-back this week. I am hoping to get some power play goals against Dallas and LA, who are some of the weaker penalty kill units in the game. But if you want a speculative ad for 3 games, he could be one of your guys. Jared Spurgeon is also 27% owned and has a lot of periffs this year. He also got some power play time last game over Zeev Buium. I'm not sure what's happening on Saturday's game. Thursday was when he got some of the power play time. But that could be worth keeping an eye on. If he gets rotated onto Power Play 1, he could be worth it for a bit. And lastly, I'd also like to point out that while Calgary's been pretty rough this year, they have some pretty weak opponents on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. That would be Ottawa, Nashville, and Philly. So if you're looking for a forward, keep your eye on the Huberdeaus, the Coronados. Maybe someone drops Nazem Kadri. I'm kind of wondering if Mackenzie Weegar is going to become available in some of my leagues soon because he's been pretty bad so far. That's a guy I'd be putting a lot of fab or a high waiver claim on. I am a sucker for Mackenzie Weegar. But yeah, if you're looking for, busy night players with good schedules as far as opponents go, Calgary actually might be your team this week. For the Sunday savior, just giving you a little bit of help to end this week, there should be lots of juicy backup goalies. There's been a bunch of Saturday, Sunday teams. So I know Jonas Johansson started today against Anaheim, so you won't have that as a choice. I'm not sure I'd start Carl Lindbaum in his first NHL start for Vegas, although that honestly, they could go back to Schmidt if Schmidt has a good game today. But yeah, keep an eye out for the backup goalies. That's always what I would pick for a 1-game stream. If you do need a skater, though, for forwards, I'd be looking at Vladimir Tarasenko, who is playing on Power Play 1 in Minnesota and, never know, could put a goal or an assist in there. And Jared Spurgeon for defenseman because, like I said, he's getting lots of peripherals, lots of ice time, and they play San Jose, who seems to give up 4 goals a game no matter who they're playing against. And I think that's all for now. I will once again express my frustration with the Frozen Frenzy Week as a fantasy owner. And feel free to tag me in the Matchup Maximizer channel if you have any further questions. Have a good night, guys.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.